Now, Mr. DJ's got to indulge himself. One of my favorite records. It's like when I bought the single to this record. It was rock and roll Nirvana. It was absolute. It was Christmas and 4th of July and Thanksgiving all wrapped up in one. Putting this single on the record player and listening to it over and over and over again. Just absolutely in love with this record. I want to spend my life with a girl like you. Summer '66, Billboard's Hot 100, the week of September 10th, 1966, coming in at number 29, up from 32, and only get as high as number 29. I want to spend my life with a girl like you. That was a hell of a rock and roll record, but it's relatively obscure now, unfortunately. I thought it was one of their best records. Went to number one in England for 2 weeks with a girl like you by the Trogs. Man, don't you just love it? With a girl like you, the Trogs, their follow up to Wild Thing. You make my heart sing. Written by Chip Taylor. Chip Taylor, who also wrote Angel in the Morning, which was covered by Mary Lee Rush. I want to talk about Reg Presley. Reg Presley, the lead singer of the Trogs. His real name was Reginald Maurice Ball, but a British journalist, his name was Keith Altham, of the New Musical Express, changed his name to Reg Presley. You need to call yourself Reg Presley, like Elvis. Said, yeah, well, thank you very much. And I promise I won't leave the building. Reg Presley, he wrote Love Is All Around, their third big hit. It was Wild Thing, and there was With a Girl Like You, Love Is All Around. Love Is All Around back in around the spring of 1968. But now, they had some other songs too. Now, I don't know if you remember one of the most risque songs that came out in the 60s. A lot of radio stations did not play it. I know WSGN in Birmingham, they're like, oh no, we're not playing this. I can't control myself. Yes. So tame by today's comparisons, but we're talking about the 60s. You had to watch it. You had to be careful about that sort of thing. Reg Presley. You see, when Reg Presley first started out, he embarked into the building trades in England. He's from England. The Trogs are from Britain. He was a bricklayer. He was a construction worker. The band, I believe, was construction workers by day, and they played the clubs at night over in Andover, England. But when Wild Thing happened, that changed. It was a game changer. Wild Thing went to number one, and the hits began to roll. The money started, the royalties started. Oh, you won't believe what he did with the royalties. Now we're getting eclectic. This is probably the most fascinating thing I'm going to tell you about Reg Presley, besides being a bricklayer during the daytime. He used his royalties to personally fund research projects into alchemy, crop circles, alien spacecraft, and lost civilizations. You know, Isaac Newton was into alchemy. He was an alchemist for a number of years after he discovered the laws of gravity and came up with the reflecting telescope, but that's off the beaten path. I got carried away. Can you imagine that? Don't you just like that about Reg Presley getting into aliens and lost civilizations? He wrote a book. He came out with a book about his findings. 2002, the book was called Wild Things They Don't Tell Us. Then he met his tragedy. Oh my God. The early 2010s was horrible for Reg Presley. He had pneumonia. He had a stroke. Then he came down with lung cancer. He passed away in 2013. He was cremated. Reg Presley. May Reg Presley rest in peace and rock the world. He sure did back in the day. God, I love this song. Just remember putting the 45 on the stereo. I had the bed right by the stereo, not just a record player, the stereo, with a girl like you blasting out the stereo. Oh, it just hits the spot. Trogs. from Billboard's Hot 100, September 10th, 1966.